With that in mind, Han Li swept a sleeve through the air, releasing a fire attribute Immortal sword that circled around within the secret chamber before hurtling directly toward him. At the same time, Han Li patted the underside of the profound heavenly gourd, and it immediately turned so that its mouth was facing the oncoming sword, then released a burst of green light toward it. As soon as the fiery sword was bound by the green light, the former instantly drew to a complete halt, while the flames on its surface were quickly snuffed out. Hanli faltered slightly upon seeing this, then made a hand seal to try and extricate the flying sword out of the green light. But as soon as a layer of flames re-emerged over its surface, a beam of dark green light instantly shot out of the gourd to completely pulverize the sword. The shattered fragments of the sword were then disintegrated even further within the green light before being sucked into the gourd. All of this had taken place so quickly that Han Li was left a little dumbstruck by what he had seen, and he hurriedly extended his spiritual sense into the gourd, where he discovered the remnants of the fire attribute Immortal sword within the second space inside the profound heavenly gourd. Those remnants were currently adhered to the energy fluctuations around the green ball, and they were slowly revolving while releasing specks of translucent light. The spiritual power that they contained was slowly being stripped away to reciprocate the gourd, and to Han Li's surprise, he noticed a tiny crimson speck of light hovering in the air outside of the green ball with faint fire law power fluctuations emanating from it. Clearly, the law powers of the fire attribute Immortal sword hadn't been absorbed by the gourd. Instead, it had simply been stored away. Han Li was becoming more curious by the second, and he wanted to see just how the profound heavenly gourd's abilities had changed. But right at this moment, he suddenly raised an eyebrow as he withdrew his spiritual sense from the gourd, then turned to the door of his secret chamber. After that, he stowed the profound heavenly gourd away, then emerged from his secret chamber before making his way into the secret chamber previously occupied by Mo Guang. As soon as he entered the room, he saw Yu Ziki struggling to try and sit up on the bed, but it seemed that he was still too feeble and weak to do so. Don't be in a hurry to get up, fellow Taoist Yu. You sustained very severe spiritual damage, so you must be feeling very dizzy right now, Han Li said as he made his way over to Yu Ziqi before gently lowering him back down onto the bed. You were the one who saved me, right, fellow Taoist Li? I could sense that it was you, but I just wasn't able to wake up and thank you. Yu Ziqi's speech was very smooth and steady, but his eyes were still looking a little dull, and he also seemed to be having difficulty focusing his gaze on Han Li. There's no need to thank me. Do you recall who it was that attacked you? Han Li asked with a grim expression. I've been pondering this question ever since I regained my consciousness, but I can't recall who my attacker was. I only have a vague recollection of them interrogating me about someone in the valley, but I can't remember who exactly that person was either. Yu Ziqi replied with a shake of his head, and it seemed that he couldn't even recall the horrific torment that he had been subjected to. Han Li's brows furrowed slightly upon hearing this, and he couldn't help but wonder if the perpetrator had been trying to interrogate Yu Ziqi about him. After all, not only was he on the Heavenly Court's immortal slaying list, he was also a member of the Reincarnation Palace and had cultivated the spirit refinement technique, all of which were crimes punishable by death. He had to go to great lengths to buy himself these past few centuries of peace and serenity, but he wasn't sure if he could continue to stay in the Leisure Valley at this rate. How long has it been since I was attacked? Yu Ziqi asked. Not long, only just over 5 years, Han Li replied. So I slept for 5 whole years. I really must thank you, fellow Taoist Li. Not only did you save my life, you've been looking after me for the past 5 years as well. I truly don't know how to repay you, Yu Ziqi sighed. I'm not the one that you should feel indebted to. The one who actually found you and saved your life is Celestial Maiden Mo. If it wasn't for her, you would have perished before I had a chance to save you. And she's also been paying you frequent visits over the past 5 years, Han Li said. A hint of emotion appeared in Yu Ziqi's eyes for the first time upon hearing this, and he hurriedly asked, Is that true? Are you saying I would lie to you about something like this? Han Li countered. Of course not, but Hanli was starting to grow a little disgruntled, and he asked, "You were even able to let go of your attachment to pursuing the great Tao. Why can't you get over something minor like this? Are you waiting for Celestial Maiden Mo to confess to you instead?" "Of course not," Yuzuki hurriedly replied. "Think about it. If we weren't able to save you this time, would you not have regretted not confessing your feelings to Celestial Maiden Mo?" Hanli asked. Hanli didn't have much experience when it came to romance and relationships, but he knew that the man had to take more of the initiative in such matters, and that was precisely the case between him and Nangong Wan. Yuzichi was silent for a long while upon hearing this, then finally sighed in an earnest voice. "Thank you, fellow Taoist Li. I know what I need to do now." Hanli could see that Yuzuki had been truly convinced, so he didn't dwell on this subject any longer. He fed Yuzuki a soul-nurturing pill, then instructed him to rest and refrain from strenuous activity before sending him away. Following Yuzuki's departure, Hanli's brows furrowed tightly with concern. A month after Yuzuki's departure, Hanli also began to prepare for his departure from the Leisure Valley and even the entire Black Mountain Immortal region as a whole. Several more years passed by in a flash, and the disappearances and attacks taking place in the floating Cloud Mountain range were only becoming more and more frequent. As a result, many of the cultivators residing here had begun to leave, and at this point, Hanli had also already packed up all of his belongings. He wanted to leave a long time ago, but he refrained from doing so in order to avoid drawing attention to himself. However, now that many people had already begun to leave the mountain range, he now had an excuse to leave himself. Of course, if he were to detect someone following him, then he certainly wouldn't mind luring them into a secluded place before permanently silencing them. After meditating in his secret chamber for some time, Hanli left his cave abode, then made his way over to the pavilion, where he often met up with Immortal Lord Hotflame and the others. To his surprise, Immortal Lord Hotflame and the others were already gathered in the pavilion at this moment, and they were all discussing something with rather grim expressions. Yuzuchi was also among them, and he was looking a little pale. Mo Wushui was standing beside him, and the two of them were speaking to each other in hushed voices. Everyone stopped talking upon seeing Hanli, and Taoist Master Jingyang beckoned to him as he said, "You came at just the right time, fellow Taoist Li. We were just about to go and look for you." "What are all of you doing here?" Hanli asked as he made his way into the pavilion. "The valley is becoming more and more dangerous. 3 fellow Taoists were attacked just last month alone, and one of them was even killed," Duan Yuzai said with a grim expression. Hanli's brows furrowed slightly upon hearing this. In order to avoid drawing attention to himself, Hanli had been in seclusion in his cave abode all these past years, and he had made no attempt to unearth the root cause behind the unrest in the floating Cloud Mountain range. It seemed that the situation was even more chaotic than before. Indeed, the floating Cloud Mountain range is no longer the place it once was, and we're all gathered here to discuss what we should do from here. Immortal Lord Hotflame sighed. "What are you planning to do, fellow Taoist Hotflame?" Hanli asked. "What else can I do but return to the sect for now? At the very least, it should be a bit safer over there," Immortal Lord Hotflame replied with a wry smile. "I'm also planning to leave for a while and go to Auspicious Cloud City. I have some acquaintances there that I can live with for now. Duan Yuzai sighed. "How about you, fellow Taoist Li?" Taoist Master Jingyang asked. "I really don't want to leave the Leisure Valley, but it is indeed no longer the place it once was, so I'm also planning to leave just like all of you," Hanli replied. "Do you have a place to go, fellow Taoist Li? If not, why don't you come to our 100 Creations Mountain for now? Your safety will definitely be ensured there, and if you have any other requests, feel free to state them, and I'll do my best to satisfy you," Taoist Master Jingyang proposed. At this point, Taoist Master Jingyang had already revealed his identity to Immortal Lord Hotflame and the others, so they weren't perplexed to hear this offer. "Thank you for the invitation, fellow Taoist Jingyang, but I've already decided on where I want to go next," Hanli replied, turning down the offer in a tactful manner. "I see. If you ever change your mind, feel free to come and find me at the 100 Creations Mountain at any time," Taoist Master Jingyang said with a hint of disappointment in his eyes. What are your plans, fellow Taoist Yu? Immortal Lord Hot Flame asked. Yu Ziqi turned to look at Mo Shui with a hesitant expression, while the latter remained silent as she stared out into the distance. Fellow Taoist Yu, if you and Celestial Maiden Mo don't have anywhere to go for now, then you can also come to our Hundred Creations Mountain, Taoist Master Jingyang said as he turned to Mo Wuxue and Yu Ziqi with a smile. Thank you, fellow Taoist Jingyang, but I have no plans of leaving this place for now, Mo Wuxue replied with a shake of her head. Everyone was quite surprised to hear this, with the exception of Yu Ziqi, who seemed to have already been aware of her decision.